My mother cheated with my uncle and tore our family apart. Now she wants to reconcile with my dad on his wedding day. Should I expose her to my stepdad and ruin her life like she did ours? My mom, 45F, and dad, 46M, got divorced when I, 22F, was 14. Their marriage ended because my mom had cheated on my dad with my uncle's brother. It was chaos. My uncle was pretty much disowned by the entire family. They got married and had my cousin brother Fan. I do not talk to my mom that often. I do not hate her, but I loathe her for destroying 2 homes because she had to be a cheater. I live with my dad mostly. He is an amazing dad and always prioritized me, unlike my mother who settled outside of town with her new family. So since then, it has been me and my dad. 3 years ago, he started dating Sarah, 40F, who was the little sister of his close friend. Sarah always had a crush on dad, but she moved away for college. Recently, she has opened a business in our town. I love Sarah. She's an incredible human. She is now pregnant with my little sister or brother. I have noticed how happy my dad has become since he started dating Sarah. I would say even happier than he was with mom. Their marriage wasn't bad, but it wasn't good either, probably because of my mom's partying habits. They lived as a civil union until now, but dad and Sarah decided it was best to get married soon because a new baby is on the way. My grandfather wanted a big ceremony for this, so we have been busy with the wedding preparations. Suddenly, I get a voicemail from my mom. It is weird because even though we talk on the phone, she never sent me a voicemail. I played it, and it was addressed to my dad. She was drunk and was crying the entire time. She said that she made a mistake and wanted forgiveness. She never meant to sleep with my uncle, and she only did it because she was angry with him. She is not happy with uncle because she always has my dad on her mind. She named her son the name my dad picked when he said what name he would choose if he had a son. I realized this must be a mistake because my dad's name and mine start with the same letter, or maybe she was so drunk that she accidentally sent the voicemail to me. I played it for my dad. He looked angry at first, but then looked disappointed. I asked him what he wanted me to do. He said that I should delete it. I was confused. He further explained that my mom is in the past now. She has her own family. If this voicemail gets leaked, she could lose the only people who are with her right now, and he doesn't want to create tension in her life by exposing her. She already had her fair share of insults from family and friends since her affair was exposed. Also, they have a child, and it will be traumatizing for him too. But I think that my uncle needs to know what my mom is up to now. So, should I share this voicemail with my uncle, who is unfortunately my stepdad, or should I listen to my dad? Comments? This is a tough one. Does your uncle deserve to know what his wife really thinks? Or do you let them wallow in the misery they created for themselves? What would be the impact of telling him? It would probably hurt him, create the probability of divorce, and break up a family that has a 5-year-old. If it wasn't for the 5-year-old, I'd say go nuclear. They both deserve it in each other. But turning a 5-year-old's life upside down is rough. OP. Honestly, even if I do nothing, it will explode. My mom uses cheating as a coping mechanism, something my older cousin told me. She has cheated on my dad multiple times. The affair with my uncle was the last straw for dad. I wouldn't be surprised if she is already cheating. OP. If this is something she did in the past, not something she is currently doing, I'd be inclined to drop it. OP. Well, my mom had multiple affairs before this one with my uncle. This was the last straw for my dad. My dad tried to make things work with my mom before, for me. They were able to reconcile before the final affair. Comments. Your uncle deserves to know that the POS he married is being a POS to him. Also, are you sure that your dad is your biological dad? OP. Yes, my dad did a paternity test when I was 7, when my mom cheated on him with a random dude. Just for me, he decided to stay and work things out. Plus, people always say I look like my dad a lot, so I have no doubt he is my biological dad. Update. Hello guys, I want to give an update for my previous post. I took your advice and deleted it. I know it will not do anyone any good. My dad did say he would talk to Sarah about it, so I stayed out of it. The next day, my mom called me to say she was sorry. She was drunk out of her ass and was spewing nonsense. She asked me if my dad listened to it. I said yes, but he told me to delete it. I also told her firmly that she should stop acting like a teenager when she is a mother of 2 kids. Did she really think her little stunt would work? I told her it was her decision to cheat and leave dad. She doesn't deserve a pity party after my dad has moved on. She said she understood and thanked me for deleting the messages. I thought that was it. The problem is gone and we can move on, but it was short-lived. Today we were having lunch. The whole family was with us, including our grandparents. My uncle's stepdad came screaming, demanding to see my dad. My mom was with him, trying to get him out of our property. When my dad came out, he literally jumped on dad, telling him he was a homewrecker, calling him all sorts of names. Apparently, he found the voicemail on her phone. Not just that, he found several voice notes of her drunken confession that she still loves dad and hopes they can work this out. This turned ugly real quick. My uncle's stepdad was not having it and said that dad has no right to break his family. He is already the reason why my uncle is disowned by the family. My dad, who always stays calm, raised his voice, saying he has no interest in him or his wife. Uncle also accused him of paternity fraud, saying his kid is not his, but actually belonged to my dad because he is sure that my dad and mom had an affair 5 years ago, which resulted in my brother. My mom was saying this is not true. My dad told him he is happy to do a paternity test if that gets him off his back. He wants nothing to do with him or his wife. My other uncles kicked both of them out. My uncle's stepdad threatened to take my dad to court and sue for child support. Well, this whole thing upset Sarah. She thought it was really disrespectful, and she wants some peace. She has no energy to deal with these shenanigans. I get that. My dad is willing to make it up to her. I'm sure she doesn't believe a word my uncle said. My dad is pissed. There was a family discussion where they said that witch has ruined more than 2 lives. I am really ashamed of my mom. I cannot believe I am related to her. I sometimes wish she wasn't my mom. I have blocked her. I only kept in contact because of my brother, but not anymore. Edit. I think I should clear it up that she sent me the message from a messaging app. I forgot that most people think a voice message and a voicemail are different, but I always thought they were the same, just on a different platform. I call every voice message a voicemail. Maybe I should have cleared that up earlier. Comments. So, your Uncle Stepdad accused your dad of being a homewrecker when Uncle Stepdad was the initial homewrecker with your mom. Wow, Uncle Stepdad has bigger problems. So sorry about the chaos in your family. OP. You know what's even more insane? My dad was out of the country for a vacation with his buddies 5 years ago when my mom got pregnant. There is no way he's the father. Also, Dad can't stand to look at Mom. Comments. Well, maybe if Uncle Stepdad demands court proceedings for paternity, it'll prove what everyone already knows, and then all ties may be severed. I hope that you may be able to have some kind of relationship with your brother someday. He is also innocent in this mess. OP. It stinks that he is in the middle of all of this. Comments. Did anyone call him out on that? That he was the homewrecker? OP. My dad did. My Uncle Stepdad said, get over it. She is not your wife anymore. She is mine now, and you are ruining it. Comments. I get you not liking your mom, but the entire group is being incredibly unfair, blaming her for the entire thing as if your uncle isn't a giant trash bag himself. OP. He gets blamed a lot though, but she is hated more because she has a history of cheating. Comments. I don't know, boning your brother's wife while your brother and sister-in-law are still married is pretty damn awful. It looks equal from here, is all I'm saying. OP. He is disowned though. He is not allowed in our house. My other uncles also don't talk to him. The whole, that which has ruined 2 lives, takes the blame off of him and steeps it in more misogyny. They are both at fault is all I'm saying. But it looks like from your post that the family just wants to blame your mom. OP. Listen, my family is far from misogynistic. Mom is an outsider, someone who married into the family, and my uncle was their own flesh and blood. So they subconsciously think my mom takes more blame than my uncle. If they really were misogynist, they wouldn't have disowned uncle. Don't read too much into it. Update. I don't know if this qualifies as an update, but here it goes. I think the moderators would get tired of the updates because I keep learning more and more stuff about the messed up dynamics of my family. Maybe I will make one final update when things settle, but this is more of a rant about what happened today. Today, I was supposed to take my little brother out for a carnival in our town. He was excited, and I promised to take him. But due to recent events, I've been doubting my decision. I asked my dad for his car because mine was broken, so I could take my little brother. I know there's a lot of tension, but a promise is a promise. My dad warned me that my mom could use my brother to manipulate me. I kept that in mind and called in advance, saying that I am taking my brother in 15 minutes and to have him ready. I arrived at her place, and my brother was nowhere to be seen. I called my mom, and she said he was still getting ready. I was frustrated because I told her earlier to get him ready. Anyway, I just went inside the house. My uncle was not there. He told my cousin that he was going to take a paternity test of him and my brother so that he knows what the next step is. My mother saw me and tried to hug me, but I just stopped her. I was not in the mood. She asked me to sit in the living room and wait for my brother. At first, she tried to make small talk with me, but when I refused to reciprocate, she told me, okay, I get it that you were mad at me, but I do not deserve to be punished. I know calling your dad was a mistake, but you have to know that I still love him. He is the love of my life. I needed to get all of that out of my system, so my therapist suggested I start journaling, but voice recordings work best. I called her out on her bullshit. If she really loved Dad, she wouldn't have had an affair with his own brother. She cannot love anyone but herself. She tried to explain, moan, and cry, and even went on a feminist rant. Oh, you don't know how hard it was for me as a woman. I was always shamed for my sexual liberation. Do you have any idea how much hypocrisy a woman has to face if she wants to explore? As a feminist, I took it as an offense that she used political movements to justify her cheating. I told her I was not interested in listening to her rant. She can be as sexually liberated as she wants, but she has no right to hurt people for her own selfish needs. She never even thought about us or her son when she was on the verge of destroying another family. I called her an empty shell of a woman before my brother came downstairs. I was so angry and frustrated. What kind of woman talks like that to her own child? I took my brother to the carnival and tried to keep my mind off Mom. I realized I need to stay away from her until this matter is resolved. I told my brother that for a few days I might not be able to visit, but he is free to call me. I feel bad for him. I went through the painful period when my parents divorced. I know how that feels when your own family betrays you. I was in a position where I had to choose between my 2 parents. I hope something good comes up. Comments. It sounds like she needs more than therapy. Why on earth would she say, oh, you don't know how hard it was for me as a woman, when you clearly do? I was just paraphrasing what she said. She went on a rant about how she was shamed as a child for being sexually active, and she said something along the lines of, you don't know how hard it was for me as a woman during that time when women were scrutinized. I am lucky people are more accepting. Don't blame me. I was 90% zoned out when she was ranting.